I love this. I like being on the phone with you, Adam. I will do this any time of day. I believe that oppression is such that the oppressed unit, the person being oppressed, or the fucking dolphin, whatever's being oppressed, can be treated and lived in such a manner that whatever happens around any of the tools of that oppression is relevant to that person no matter what. It's just when somebody's oppressed, that demands attention. That's what I mean when I tell you that crazy offends me. My name will be Craze. The Y is silent because you should know about the Y now. Because saneism makes the crazy word, the C word, worse than the N word. Because saneism damages black people more than racism. Saneism damages us all profoundly, and it oppresses me. I can't film my friend. I can't film you either because you're not here. I miss you. I love talking to you on the phone. But like, look, I'm saneism's raping my ass every day, and so yeah, I get offended when somebody says crazy, even if they mean it like I'm super crazy. Yay! No. The why is silent. You don't have to ask why. Everything's relevant. I realized that I ranted, but that's why I started the video, because I wanted to rant.
Do you want to have a conversation or are you just talking?
Yeah, I'd like to have a conversation if you have more.
Okay, so just to put things in context, one, I was talking about myself,
Yeah,
and I was using the word crazy in a non-negative way to describe a positive thing that happened from a time when I was literally going through a period of mental illness,
right,
but there were still positive things that came out of that was very productive and creative.
right,
I just want to clarify, I wasn't calling anybody else that word.
right.
I was talking about myself, and I wasn't using it in a negative way. But I will say, it is kind of funny that you mentioned dolphins, because we were talking about being offended by things, and that actually offended me that you used dolphins in such a condescending way. When dolphins are superior biological organisms to humans, they have huge advanced brains. Like, they're not something to scoff at, but it is kind of funny how we're offended by different things.
We are.
That Richard Dawkins is offended by a backwards hat. He's full of shit. He's just saying that to make a point. But it's just kind of like, you're really offended by
That you're offended
that
over my treatment of dolphins is hilarious. That's hilarious. I am dolphinophobic to you.
People literally think it's okay to just go and kill dolphins because they don't think that they even have feelings. But they're more advanced than us. They have more sophisticated emotions and brains and thoughts, and they can. If you talk to a dolphin, they can like, dolphins can turn sound into 3D images in their mind, and then make a sound that literally creates a three-dimensional image in the water that other dolphins can hear, and then see the exact three-dimensional image in
Are
their
you
mind.
sure? Wow.
Yeah.
How
And
would you find that out? Like, how would you discover that? You can't put a dolphin in an MRI.
Sure you can, but you can do a dolphin one, but they can also see through stuff. Like, you can cover something with a box. They can see through the box and tell you what it is. Like, you can put say a beach ball
Wow.
under a box. They can see the beach ball. Then they can say what's in the box as a 3D image and communicate to the other dolphin, and the other dolphin will see a fucking beach ball. They can look through objects and then communicate three-dimensional images to each other.
While that is all so cool, to me, they're slightly better than vending machines. That offends you so much. And I'm just joking, actually, at this point. That was to offend you. But my
I can
point...
tell that you didn't mean it, though, so it didn't offend you.
Yeah, that's true. I don't mean it.
You said something that doesn't actually offend you as if it offended you.
Because who cares? Why does the word offended have such currency? I don't want anyone to be able to talk about anything in a way that's offensive unless I see them making cultural change. Who's making the cultural change that I want to have made already, you know? Like,
I don't know.
the reason that I'm offended about crazy is that saneism is wrecking my life. It's made both of us, you and I, think less of ourselves.
Saneism, though.
Sane-
What I did is not saneism.
Saneism
I
is,
was not using it in a bad way.
I know,
I
but
was promoting the positive aspects of mental illness.
so that comes from how I think about oppression. Because so if you were black and you said to me, don't say the N word because white supremacy is absolute, and I have to live in a world where that word kills my friends, my family members, my colleagues, you are making my life worse by dropping a word that is offensive to anyone on my side of this gross divide.
But
If
that
you
is
said
not
that, I'd be
proportional
like,
analysis,
yeah.
though.
What's that?
That's not proportional to anything relating to what I did.
I
The
just
fact
feel
that you're
like
offended
the
by
so
this and you want to censor me is showing that you're a hypocrite.
no, it's not. It's not. So I guess so. I guess it is. I guess it is making me a hypocrite, but I'm saying the oppression is the fault.
Every conversation we have,
I'm saying that if it weren't for the oppression, I wouldn't be a
you're
hypocrite.
so oppressed by it, that you resort to censorship.
You know who's oppressed by it? My next door neighbor. She has to get electroconvulsive therapy, and she can't record how that makes her feel. Like there's no way for her to tell her story.
But what I did has nothing to do with that.
But saneism does have a lot to do with crazy.
What I said with saneism is not that.
Crazy has a meaning, and that meaning is fueled by saneism. You don't say, man, it was crazy, unless you mean, man, it was excessively good, man, it was excessively unrealistic. Like you mean one of those things, because saneism has fueled our society to the point where crazy is the modern N-word.
But that's not the context in which I use that word.
I know. I'm not saying that it was.
So in other words, what I did is not a form of saneism.
I don't know. I'm not making that judgment whether what you did was saneism or not. I'm saying I was offended when you said crazy. And then I said that it didn't matter that I was offended that you said crazy, because I said that being offended doesn't mean anything, because I actually believe what Richard Dawkins says. I don't think getting offended is a trump card. But yeah, I got legitimately offended at your crazy because of saneism, not because of you. I consider you a close friend.
So I think I get what you're saying now. You're saying because of the historical context of it, even if I'm not using it in a negative way, it still offends you.
The living history of it, the fact that I encounter it every day of the week, that
But
it's...
isn't that true of most, well, at least a considerable amount of black people with the N-word, but you still do your N-word stuff?
Hey man, I don't touch the N-word, man. I do the NFT word.
Yeah,
and
but you used to.
I
So
did.
you've changed your ways.
Yeah, well, I changed my strategy. I'm not sure that I've changed things so drastically, but I am... I don't know. I don't know what's changed.
I think it's you might want to change your strategy on the saneism thing though, because I'm almost always like advocating positivity and.
I think the taboo is... Yeah. Can I interject? And then...
Interrupt. Go ahead. Interrupt.
Yeah. I am not interjecting if I'm interrupting.
Go ahead.
Well, you're finished? I'm letting you. I was listening. I
No,
just...
sorry, you interrupted my train of thought, so go ahead.
Okay, sorry. What? And I've forgotten what I was going to say too.
Okay.
So
I remember what I was going to say. I think that you should change your strategy on saneism because I am sitting here talking about positive attributes of mental and telling you, I
The-
think the things that you speak so negatively about being manic and stuff, like I think that a lot of things you're doing are not a form of mental illness. I think that some of the things you do are probably a form of mental illness.
I know.
But I think a lot of the things that you call a form of mental illness are probably not a form of mental illness. And I'm supporting these things, and I'm telling you, it's not necessarily a bad thing that you have these languages and you get excited about them.
Okay.
But in that context, where you say, "Oh, how dare you be so sanist?"
Okay.
Like I'm not being sanist.
I don't think that you are wrong in every particular. And I think that the reason I interrupt is because I understand what you're saying. I really do. I believe the fight against sanism is multi-generational. And I believe that the first step is by creating a taboo word and enforcing that taboo. Because, like it or not, sanism is as bad as any oppression that you can think of. And it has a history of profound awfulness, and it has a current day, modern day reality of terrible, terrible consequences for real lives, innocent people. And it will have that going forward for centuries. So if we want to fix sanism, my opinion, and I'm sincere, because look at how good the N-word taboo worked out. They've got me saying that I don't want to say the N-word because I'm only going to touch it with Fagotard as a escort. Does that make sense to you? That, like, they've won. My daughter's name isn't my last name and never will be. They've won. I want us to win next. They won. A white man did not get to nigger the N-word. Whoever does it will probably have to be black, I guess. Or you know, I don't know who will do it. Maybe a different white man. But the first white man to try to nigger the N-word did not do it and lost his everything. And so if you want to nigger crazy, then that becomes interesting, because then we're talking about the distant future when we can get to that point socially. But it's a far ways from here, man. I guess I was just offended because my life sucks. But I think that you make my life much, much better. So when I'm saying I'm offended, it's by what you said, not the you-ness or even your relationship and what you do with me. What you do with me is fantastic. I have no complaints.
Well, I just want to clarify that I wouldn't and I don't use that word as a disparaging. Like I wouldn't, if someone's mentally ill, I wouldn't use it as a negative.
I got you. And I might use it as a negative thing disparagingly. So I got you. And so I got you also on the hypocrite part of it. I am sometimes a hypocrite about language.
I think that you and I have a different approach to this. We're both coming from a similar place, but
Yeah,
we have
which
a
is
different
good.
approach to